All right, let me know. Kindly confirm if you can hear me. If you can hear me, please kindly confirm. Hello? Yes, okay. Thank you, Rufai. Thank you so much for that confirmation. All right. So we would hope that as much as possible we join so that we don't have to wait for too long. But I think just to get the room started, we could do a round of introductions. As many people has joined, we'll just quickly get to know ourselves. So what I will, you do well to hit the share button. You'll be able to broadcast this to your network session so that would make the thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Robert. So as you join, please use the chat section, introduce yourself so that we'll be able to get started. My name is Akpemtesi Shedrack. A veterinary doctor by profession. I'm also a 2023 Mandela Washington Fellow, now an alumnus. So what this session is going to be about is to provide as much support as possible for every one of you who is here on this call and is looking to apply for the fellowship program. So I'm going to do a short presentation just to give us some context about the fellowship, after which we would now, proceed to do questions and answers. So like I said, I intend that this should be a very interactive session. So let's first and foremost share this widely as possible. Let me know where you're also joining us from. You could indicate. So I'm anchoring this session from the beautiful city of Makurdi in Benue State, the food basket of the nation. So let me know where you're joining us from. You can use the chat section to do that. And please use the share button, share widely so that more persons will be able to join us on this session. Thank you so much, Rufai. Thank you so much, everyone who is indicating. Okay, Usman, good to have you joining from Yobe. Rufai is joining from Lagos. All right, thank you. Okay, so let me set up my presentation quickly while the introductions keep coming. Okay. So Ayumide is joining us from Lagos. Robert is joining from Makurdi. Isaac is joining from Makurdi. Okay, good to have you all. Daniel is joining us from the beautiful city of Kogi. Somehow I watched TV this morning and Kogi was in the news for the right reasons, of course. So let me see. This is loading. So like I said, my name is Akpemte Shadrach. I'm a 2023 Mandela Washington Fellow. So I'm putting this session together to provide support for all young African leaders who are looking to apply for the 2024 cohort of the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program. It's about one of the best leadership experiences of fellowship programs you'll find anywhere in the world. It's intensely competitive. So that is why you want to put your best foot forward as far as, wanting to leverage this opportunity is concerned. So at this point, if all you've done is simply just read through your, sign up and read through the criteria, that is good enough. I'm sure after this puts the best of applications forward. Every year, 700 Africans get to, from sub-Saharan Africa, are selected to go to the US for this fellowship and are placed in different universities where they undergo their leadership training experiences, volunteering, networking sessions, cultural events, and the likes. So it's definitely something you want to be able to, and it gives you opportunity to connect to networks that on a good day you probably will not have access to. Think of the enormous potential of connecting to or connecting with 17 African countries all at the same time. That was the experience I had in my own institute. And then cumulatively doing that across over 49 countries during the summit. It's powerful, right? There are very little opportunities that give you this kind of access, as it were. So it's something that you want to be able to take really, really good advantage of. So, okay, this is still loading. All right, it's up now. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. So just for those that just joined now, my name is Akbemdese Shadrach. I'm a veterinary doctor and a 2023 Mandela Washington Fellow. The caption says it all. This is an information session, and I'm here to provide you with support to be able to put an excellent application for the next cohort of the program. So please, so that we ensure to get as many people as possible to tap into this, do well to share this on your timelines. The share button is there. Do well to subscribe on the channel so that we can get as many people as possible engaging with us. So I'm going to share my screen now so that we'll begin. It's not fair that we'll have to wait for too long for others to join. So I'm just going to get started. Okay. Okay. So kindly confirm if you can see my screen. So if you can see the screen I put up, please do well to confirm. All right, I will be interfacing with two different phones so that I'm able to also follow through to know what the situation is. I don't have a moderator on this, so I want to be sure that we are synced so that we'll get the presentation started. Okay, great. So I see that. I see that that has been confirmed. So, like I said, this is an information session. So let's start from the beginning. For those of you applying for the 2024 Mandela Washington Fellowship, these slides were put together by IREX so that we are able, as alumni, to provide support for as many young people as possible. Now, it's not just about having a lot of people apply. Africans are doing tremendous, exciting things. And it will make a lot of sense if you're able to put that kind of message in a way that, it's able to get the attention of those reviewing your applications. I've gotten questions like, can I decide who makes it to the next stage? I am issuing this disclaimer. I have no powers. The best I'm doing is what I'm doing now to ensure that you put your application in the best shape and be able to apply and get selected for the Mandela Washington Fellowship. So before I begin, I will tell you again that I was selected in 2023 this year, and I was at Purdue University. If there's any of my people here, one of our really, really, really powerful slogans will say boiler up. And when we say boiler up, the response is hammer down. So that's, I'm now a boiler maker at Purdue University. So it was really a transformational experience for me at the university, which is based in Indiana, the state of Indiana, in West Lafayette precisely. So that was something that I cannot never forget it, So it's something I hope that as many of you that are on this call today, few months down the line, you share your own feedback with me to say that I'm happy that I was able to be part of this process. And now I've gone through this interview. I've now been selected. I've now gone to the US and I'm now back. That is my hope and my prayer for all of you. So let's get things started. So we'll just talk through the program overview, the fellowship provisions, eligibility and selection criteria, and then the application information. So basically, the Young African Leaders Initiative has three branches. It has the YALI network. So this consists of every leadership program that is handled by YALI. So it's not so Mandela Washington Fellowship is one of those initiatives, and then we have the YALI regional leadership centers. So most of you would be aware that we have that of West Africa, we have North, and I think South. So in West Africa, it's in Ghana. In South Africa, it's in Southern Africa, I think it's in South Africa. So these are the different branches. Some happen online, others happen on site. For the West African, for those of you that have applied, you would know that, or participated, that it happens in Ghana. So these are the three legs upon which the YALI initiative sits on. So let's go to a bit of history. So the Mandela Washington Fellowship started in 2014 and is focused on empowering young people between the ages of 25 to 35 who are doing exciting work, impact work in their communities. There's a question of if I'm less than 25, should I apply? Yes. It's stated clearly that applications are still considered for those who are between the ages of 21 to 24. If you have really exceptional work history or impact, you'll be considered. I know for a fact because in my cohort, we had a lady from Eswatini who was 24 years or who is 24 years and she was selected for the fellowship. So if you're doing amazing work, even if you're not up to 25 years, you are open to apply. So you're able to include your academic coursework, what are you doing, your leadership training experiences, and then, it also gives you exposure in networking. So academic coursework exposes you leadership concepts, how to be able to be extremely efficient. So let me give a bit of bias for my space because I was a leader in business at Purdue. So you took a lot of business courses, leadership trainings. We had a lot of networking sessions, cultural events, volunteering work. You get to volunteer, you get to support the community that is hosting you for the 6 weeks that you are there. Of course, the applications, like has opened already, opened on the 15th of August. And the fellowship values diversity and inclusion very much. So what this means is it doesn't matter your tribal or ethnic orientation, religious orientation. It doesn't even matter your sexual orientation, right? It doesn't matter whether you are. There's high consideration for persons with disabilities. For instance, you have special needs. The program, accounts for you. In my cohort, whether in Nigeria or even where I was, we had persons with disabilities who were part of it, and it's usually a very good experience because you get to look at the world from their own perspective too. And as of today, the alumni network, is nearly 6,500 alumni. So when we were all done at DC, the numbers rose to over 6,500. And more importantly, you don't pay. Some persons have asked, how much will it cost me to apply for this? It doesn't cost you anything. It's totally free of charge. This is just Africans being Africans. So 700 fellows are selected, like I said, across sub-Saharan Africa, 47 or 49 countries. You go through a 6 weeks intensive. I underline that word intensive. When I got into Purdue, It was it's a lot. So it's going to be intensive. You just have to know that back to back every day of the week. Yeah, you probably have your weekends to rest a bit, but not so much. But it's fun, It's regimented and structured, so it's very intense. And the reason is, as young leaders, when we leave our countries, we have left a lot of things behind. So it's important that we wrap this up as fast as possible so that we go back. So that makes sense that it's done that way. And then you are placed at 28 leadership institutes across the US. I was at Purdue University, Purdue Boiler Up, and Purdue University it's a big name in agriculture, right? It's a big name in agriculture. I'm emphasizing that big name. So for those of you who are doing amazing work in agriculture, for instance, chances are that you might even end up at Purdue. That doesn't mean it's the only agricultural university. It's big in agriculture, it's big in research. And if you remember the first person that went to the moon, I'm trying to think of his name, it's not coming. He is a boilermaker, right? So that's on the side right away. I mean, I'm going to hype Purdue, so just forgive me in advance. So there are three tracks that we are going to, you're going to select under: business, civic engagement, and public management. So it's important that you figure out which category you fall under. You don't want to carry your application as a business leader and put it under civic engagement. You don't want to carry your application as a public management person and put it under business. So it's important to get it right as far as selecting your track is concerned. So just to give you context, under leadership in business, you see sub-teams like innovation and technology, emerging markets, youth populations, business plan development, financial management, intersection of business, civic society, government, blah, blah, blah. It's so that you understand the broad perspectives of what a leadership in business is. I fall under innovation and technology. I'm the founder of VetConnect, and VetConnect is a digital animal health platform that is helping to improve access to animal care by connecting veterinary doctors to livestock farmers and pet owners. And what this means is that we are effectively closing the gap of access to animal care. That puts me under innovation and technology. If you go under civic leadership in civic engagement, we're talking advocacy, strategic planning, organizational development, intersection of civil society with business. So there's a middle ground too. So maybe what the work you do as a civic engagement leader is to help maybe set up or create business models for those in doing development work. Then you go into leadership in public management. You talk about citizen engagement, resource management, financial management, intersection of government with business and civic society. So these channels connect across all three. So first and foremost, your task before you begin your application is which category do I fall under? And let me share a personal thing as experience with you. In 2019, that was the first time I applied for the Mandela Washington Fellowship. I didn't apply again up until last year, and then I got selected, right? But when I applied last year, I put my application under civic engagement. And that's because I do a lot of development work. So in my head, I just wanted to align more with civic engagement, but everything I wrote down aligned with leadership in business. Who knows? That's why maybe I didn't even make it through that first round. So you want to be able to put your application in the right place. Very important, because people are going to be reading through thousands and thousands of applications. More than 50,000 applications came through across sub-Saharan Africa. In Nigeria alone, there were over 10,000 plus. So that's a lot of applications to read through. So you want to be in the right place so that the person reading, if a civic leader is reading a leadership in business application, he does not have the expertise to pick those things that the other person will have picked. So first thing you want to do is put your application in the right place. Then for each leadership institute, there are components that are always featured. The academic coursework, leadership training, Ignite talks. So Ignite talks are like pitch sessions where you get to talk about the work you do. And it's one of those really exciting moments that all fellows look forward to. Now, during the Ignite talks that happen at the universities, one fellow in your university is selected to represent the entire university institute at Washington, D.C. So in my institute, my friend and brother Dumi, who is from Malawi, was selected to pitch on behalf of us, where he shared the story of what he's doing with agriculture in Malawi. So it's something that if you aspire to want to be the ones to represent your university, you start already planning now. There's nothing saying you shouldn't. Then you go to a lot of sites. So I think one of those really high points for me was visiting the Lincoln Memorial, right? It's something I've looked forward to since 2015. And I remember during my interview, I was asked by the panel that what was that one place I would want to go to if I got to the US? And for me, that was the easiest question I was asked. I told them Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln's memorial in Washington, D.C. And they wanted to know why. And my answer again was simple. This man has shaped my leadership ability in tremendous ways. So you get to visit a lot of places, both organized and unorganized, both structured and unstructured. That means there are some that you go as a group, there are some you decide to go alone. Of course, you have a lot of cultural visits. The US is a very diverse country. So you want to also be immersed in their own cultural, experiences and also share yours. I got to tell a lot of people around about the Tiv Nation. If you saw a lot of my pictures, you saw that if I had the opportunity, I was in my Tiv colors, in my Benue colors, and all of that. So it's an opportunity to tell people. Some Americans think Africa is a country, but you see, Africa is a lot of countries. And then in my own country, in Nigeria, some Americans think Nigeria just has Lagos and Abuja. I told them no. There's one fine state like that in north central Nigeria called Benue State, and it has some really beautiful people called Tea people. I get to educate them. So it's an opportunity to tell people something new about where you're coming from. Then you build collaborative relationships. You're able to connect with people. Remember, it's powerful to be in the same room with 17 other countries at the same time. Think of opportunities that would have put you in that place. Think of the high caliber US leaders, public servants, entrepreneurs that you're going to connect with. I met with people on a normal day I might never have had access to. Then you get to support the communities through volunteering work. So that's why volunteering is so big for the Mandela Washington Fellowship. It's a big deal. And then, of course, you have your own structured networking time. You get to meet families. You get to schedule events. You get to do site visits on your own and all of that. So each institute is unique and will feature different topics and activities. So if you are going to Purdue, probably after I've gone through this stage, I will share more insights for those that will make it there. It's really, really, really a good place to go. And this is not to say that any other place isn't. I'm just hyping my own space. All right. So after you have done 5 weeks at your institute, you now move to Washington, D.C. The last summit happened in 2019 and has not happened again up until now because of COVID. So our set was actually the first set to meet back in DC after the summit. That was really after the outbreak of COVID-19, which was really, really exciting. So all 700 fellows were able to come back together. We met, we networked. It was intense, really, really 4 days of wonderful engagement. So a lot of US leaders were there. We had Blinken come around, the US Secretary of State. We had several leaders in the public, private, and non. If you know Kickstarter, it's a crowdfunding platform. We had the CEO come talk to us. So a lot of things happen, and then again, you still get to meet and connect with several other Africans doing amazing things. The most important thing I would say is, at this point, you want to be able to engage with those people you find alignment with. You cannot engage with all 700. So find those people you have a middle ground with to connect with. Then there's the professional development experience. So as you apply, you get to indicate whether you want to participate in this. And this is after we are done in DC, everybody goes. But those people that are selected for the professional development experience get to stay back in the US for 4 weeks and are placed either in NGOs, businesses, or government agencies, depending on the tracks they fall under. So, of course, for you to participate in this, you have to indicate, and then during the entire process of the interviews, you're asked, and if you're convincing enough, you get placement. From my experience, and like I said in one of my videos, which is on my channel, I did not participate in the PD. I would have wanted to, but with what I've learned now, it's very practical based. So as much as possible, think of those practical based skills or experiences that you're going to be able to learn during the PD and how that would apply to back to your work. That's the kind of thing they're looking for. So if you're more or less soft skills that are not so easy to quantify, you might not get selected. But again, it depends. But this is my own personal opinion about what I think I observed, and I'm just sharing it out there. So let's say you're working with physical products, or you're something that would you'll be able to find that kind of application in the US because it's their experience and you're going to be able to tap from it. Um, Again, there are a lot of alumni opportunities. I don't want to dwell so much on this, but just know that by going through the Mandela Washington Fellowship, once you become an alumni, you are open up to some exclusive opportunities that you will naturally not find outside there. Just so you know. So this is the more reason why you want to put in your best and make the most of this application. This is Africans being Africans. Yes, so some fellowship provisions. You're going to go on a J1 visa. So what this means is that the visa you're giving, ours was, I think it was valid for 6 weeks. Others got more than that, but the visa does not allow you to work in the US. So don't go for the Mandela Washington Fellowship thinking, well, I'll be able to do side hustle. No, you can't. Even the workload will not even allow you to do that. Then you get to do it enables you to have a round trip from your home country to the US and back. Domestic US travels are required by the program, so you get some. You might, fly or travel on road. It depends on where and what you're doing. Of course, the 6 weeks Leadership Institute, a concluding summit, and you also have a health plan. So it's more like limited to accidents and sickness benefits plan. So again, there's housing and meals during the program, and again, the optional PDE. So let me also answer a question on the financial benefits that come with the fellowship. So IREX would give you $850 in total. You get 200 before you leave, or the day you're leaving, it all depends. And then you get, I think, 650 when you get to your institute. That's how it works. And then it depends on the institute you are in. Sometimes they are going to give you meal plans, sometimes they monetize it and give you. But it's not a financial based fellowship in quote. So you focus on the value of the networks you're going to be able to build there. They are going to be worth everything. So again, like you can see, the fellowship does not include funds to supplement fellows' income. Baggage fee. So if you're traveling and you are in excess of, you have 3 kg times 2. What that means is you can carry 2 bags that each weigh a maximum of 23 kg. Anything in excess, you pay. If you go and you do anything outside the health insurance that is covering for you, you pay from your pocket. And then they are not going to give you high-end gadgets. Sometimes they will give you laptops you use, but you return them afterwards. So I think what is it again? Okay, so after this the summit, you have the liberty to extend your stay in the US for 1 month, but that is totally based on you. You cannot also do any form of paid employment. It's important you know that. And you're going to cover your cost, any extra cost that's involving that. IREX will simply just reroute the date of your return, and then you pay the extra cost. So for eligibility, I've said that this is the points I've mentioned already. These are the eligible countries. So the long story short is, once you're in sub-Saharan Africa, then you are eligible to apply. I'm sure you're seeing some countries for the first time. So Africa is really, really a big continent, and it's really exciting to have met so many young people. And I was wondering, oh, I didn't know that there was a country like this, but they were there and they were really doing amazing things. So it's really an experience to want to add under your belt as something you'll be able to. So what makes an ideal Mandela Washington Fellow? And let's pay attention. Your record of leadership and accomplishment. What have you achieved? You have demonstrated commitment to public or community service, very important. Ability to work as a group, strong social and communication skills. Then you have to have knowledge, interest, and professional experience in your preferred sector or tract. And you must make a commitment to return to Africa to contribute your skills and talent to build and serve your communities. The Mandela Washington Fellowship is not a JAPA route. It's important that you know that. It's not a JAPA route, right? So you do this, you come back after 6 weeks or after 12 weeks, depending on whether you're doing a PDE, and you give back to your community before anything else. So I say again, the Mandela Washington Fellowship is not a JAPA route. so so fellows with disabilities, like I said, it's encouraged and you get a lot of benefits, just like I listed here. They will provide you aids based on the specific needs that you have. The same for pregnancy support. I think we had fellows who were pregnant while, I'm not sure anyone gave birth. I didn't hear that, but we had those who were pregnant during the fellowship. So you get all of the support you need. Application is going to close on 12th of September. So we should all definitely get things started. So these are the things that the application will request from you: basic information, name, address, phone number, email, country of residence and citizenship. Update your CV, please. Update your CV before you upload it. Then personal statements. You're going to have 4 short responses and 2 long responses. Keep your answers straight to the point, professional. I know there's ChatGPT, there's Google Bard, there are a lot of AI tools now. I'm not saying don't use them, but humanize your responses. Don't just generate generic responses and then load them up as the people reviewing your applications will see through them and you will not be selected. So you can use that as a way of supporting your writing to make it more creative, but that should not replace your place of doing that. And then they would want to know, have you had a previous experience in the US? Don't be under pressure to say you have. I have never been to the US up until June when I went. So its focus is even targeting people who have little or no experience in the US. And all of the experience I had in the US was all of the things I read. Remember, I'm big on Lincoln, so you would naturally know that I would have read a lot of things about the US. So you don't have to be under pressure. If you have not been to the US before, no problem. Then, of course, you need to be able to speak English. Yes, don't procrastinate. Start making progress now. And be original. I've said this. Don't replace yourself with ChatGPT or Google Bard. Then use real world examples. Don't be philosophical in this. Say things that are tangible. Quantify your responses. Quantify your impact so that someone is able to relate to what you're saying. Then share your impact and your goals. Everything needs to connect. When you're answering 6 different questions, they connect all through. So if you say something that doesn't connect, it becomes a problem. So it's something you want to be able to keep at the back of your mind. A note on plagiarism. This has been said. Plagiarism means taking someone else's work or ideas and presenting them as your own. Don't go online copying people's applications and applying as you. It will be flagged and you will not be able to apply. It is said plagiarism is strictly forbidden, and those who plagiarize their application materials will be disqualified. So to avoid this, use your own words and ideas. Avoid cut and paste. Do not use wordings from other applicants or alumni. And then, if you're using sources, credit them. So let me give an example. Don't say that the world is, the population of the world is 8 billion. According to the World Health Organization, or according to World Bank, the global population is about 8 billion. So always credit your sources. The US Department of State and IREX will be checking for all applications for plagiarism, so you want to ensure that you don't fall victim. These timelines, I've said it. So you're going to, of course, begin all of this in June 2024, about the same time we also did ours. So I look forward to walking through with you on this journey, through your applications from now till September 12th. And then, of course, your interviews will begin from November through January. And then you'll be notified. I did my interview first week of January. And I remember, I can't forget that experience. It was scary because my village people wanted to cause problem for me. My laptop just came on and my video was not turning up. So anyway, long story short, I went to Korea and I'm back. So just check your gadgets and everything should be in good shape. But of course, I'll do a video for that before it's time. So by May, you begin your visa processing, you attend your pre-fellowship orientations, and then your fellowship will begin in June. So this is pretty much everything that you should know. I'm not going to play this. I would share this material back on the group for those of you who are on the group that I am currently providing mentorship support for. So these are the resources, and I think at this point we'll take questions. So I'm going to stop sharing now so that I go back to. All right. All right. So I am back. So let me be sure that we all follow through. All right. All right. All right. So I'm going to take questions now. Questions, questions, questions. So you use the chat section, type your questions, and I would respond. Thank you so much, Ikena, for the feedback. Yes, Kelvin, no jackpot. I agree. Okay, Sule, I'm sorry. I think that was from your end. So if you had, I think there's a setting where you put it on maximum. What's the maximum something now where you're able to get more clarity? Okay, so Dr. Lohodido says just in case you decide to stay for 30 days extension, um, it seems like that question is not complete. But let me preempt you. You are going to pay for every expense, but you're not illegally in the US. So you pay for whatever housing. But if you maybe made connections where you just have someone to stay with, no problem. But the extra fee with your airfare, you are the one to pay. But most times the cost is not much. Some people paid as low as $50, some $100 just to extend. So yes, can you stay with someone you know and maybe spend? Yes, you definitely can do that. You can stay in any part of the US that you want within that time frame. Yeah, you can. But you just need to know that you are no longer the responsibility of IREX or the Department of State. Okay, let me see. I was invited for an interview last year, but I was not able to get selected. So, is it a plagiarism if I send it back a little edition? No, it's not. It's your work. But I will not advise you to just carry everything you wrote last year and then apply this year again. Why? Last year to this year, it's a lot of time. So you definitely have made progress. So you can still use the same template and based on everything you've heard from here, see where you could make the application better and more competitive, and then you put in again because it's your own application, so it's not going to be plagiarism. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you so much, kindness. I appreciate it too. Okay. So I hope I've not missed any question. I'm trying to check the comments. I don't think I've missed any questions. So, when coming back to your country, do they give you any form of settlement fund? Okay, no, they don't give you any form of settlement fund. I just told you the financial benefits that you get as far as this is concerned. Um, but I will tell you this because this is not a grant awarding fellowship, focus more on the value of the networks that you're going to build. So let's say you're in business and you now end up connecting to a VC fund or an angel investor or a grant awarding institution in the US. That's bigger than whatever money they can give you. And again, remember the quality of the resources that you're going to have exclusive access to just by being an alumni. So they're not going to give you any settlement fund. But again, there are some institutions where for those in business tracks, you get to participate in pitches. So it didn't happen in my university, but some would say, okay, participate, and they could be funds where people will get to win, but it's not structured. So the long story is no, there's no settlement fund. You made mention of four essay questions. Are they going to be up to 200 words each? Yes. They are. The first four questions are 250 words. The last two are about 500 words, I think. Okay, Ikena. Did I have to run my own organization to be selected? I applied last year but was not selected. I need I need to know what I did wrong. I work as a program manager for an organization apart from many volunteers. So Ikenya, the first thing you want to do is to figure out what track you fall under. But looking at what you just said as a program manager, this sounds to me like you're under civic or under business leadership. It could be any of these two. Now it depends on the work you're doing as a product manager, a program manager. If your work is targeted in the civic space, then your application has to go there. And you don't have to own your organization. I had people in my cohort who were working for organizations. The most important thing is the impact you're creating as a young person. So that's why crafting out your story is very, very important. How critical are you in your organization as a program manager? That's where your story is. And then your volunteer experiences would count in your community service. So that's how you apply. So it's very important to know exactly how to clearly target this so that you put in the right message. Mohammed, can I put in many accomplishments in the question number one section? As much accomplishments as possible that give validity to your application, please put in. Remember, there's no hard and fast rule. You're not going to say too much as long as it's relevant. What I discourage is just putting in everything just because you want to make it bogus. You can check my question, please. I think I just answered your question. If it's about, I applied last year but was not selected. So I think I just answered this, except there's another question you asked again. But like I said, you don't have to run an organization to apply and be selected. I've met so many people who are just part of organizations or even employed who are part of the process. So there's no pressure to say you must own your organization. Should I tell them the numerous capacity building programs I've participated in? Yes. All of these are the experiences you have gathered. Ali, thank you for the wonderful presentation. My question is, must applicants possess international passports? Yes. Yes. You cannot travel out of Nigeria without an international passport, my brothers and sisters on the call. So you should apply for it today. Thank God you can start the process online. Initiate it. Because if you apply, they're going to ask you. I'm not saying it's going to count against you, but I just feel like it's very competitive. So it's best to say in selecting, at least you let them know that you have applied, they're waiting to collect it. Please. Don't wait till you're called for interview before you go and apply. Remember, it takes a lot of time. I remember when of course, I had my passport, but it was going to expire in July. So I applied for another one in January, and I got it after 6 weeks. So you want to do it fast, all right? So it's a worthy investment. I think either 30,000 or less for your passport. I think 27,000. You can check on the customs immigration's website. Sorry, you can start it. You should definitely apply. It's a worthy investment. You want to have this document. Sometimes you never know. It's not just for the Mandela Washington Fellowship. Opportunities come from anywhere. So please get your passport. So you need it. Isaac says, thank you for the insightful presentation. It came handy. Thank you. Can you be kind enough to review a few essays before we turn in? Yes, I've told you people for the group I'm mentoring. I told you people that from next week, I would notify you to start sending your applications for those of you that started drafting it so that I will help you share insights. It's a lot of work, but as much as possible, I'll support the best I can. So, young Robert, those of us in science and technology, what track do we fill in? You can fill in any of the tracks, Robert. As a person in science and technology, if you're providing education now, for instance, for someone like you who is in Makodi, because looking at your name, you're my brother from T tribe, right? we have a challenge of IDPs. If you are someone who is providing quality education to IDPs, you're already a leader in civic engagement. If you have an incubation hub where you provide training support for businesses, you're already a leader in business. If you work with government where you are helping to make public service more efficient through the use of technology, you are in public administration. So I hope it makes sense. So it doesn't matter what you are doing, it's the application that tells you whether you fit into a particular category or not. Then Dr. Daniel says, thank you for your presentation, Doc. Thank you, sir. I want to ask, what categories or track does one working with it? You so you fall under the public administration track. You definitely fall under there. Because remember, what you're doing is about driving public sector efficiency. So it's now how you put that story that matters. The underlining point is, so let's say that as a public servant, you're working with livestock farmers in rural communities, because at least I know that you're a vet. So if you're providing that kind of support for farmers as a public servant to maybe drive vaccination awareness or provide more access to vaccination to maybe you're tackling the challenge of rabies in rural communities, that is something that speaks to the logic of public administration. So that's where I think you're going to fall into, except you're doing something outside that you want to make as a focus for you. Because if you even though you're a public servant, but you feel I want to talk more to civic and business, that's still fine. All right. Do we have other questions? Okay. I don't think we have any other questions. So let me know if you are still following me. Just notify in the chat section that this has been a productive session. You don't have any questions, so that once I get about 5 or so of those responses, we can call it a wrap. So kindly comment in the section if you can hear me and you don't have a question. Please kindly notify me in the session. I hope this has been very productive. I hope we all got value for it. So let me know so that we can be able to, wrap up the session. Okay. Moses, I work with a non-profit and also run a social enterprise I founded. What category is most suitable for me since I'm making impact on both sides? Moses, I totally relate to what you're doing, because like me, the work I do also has a lot of bearing on on civic engagement and business leadership. What I would tell you, and this has worked for me, is that you need to look at the two. Which one is your focus? Pick your focus and let the second one come, let the one that is complementing come second. So if your focus is on let me see, if your focus is on non-profit, give it the attention. If it's on social entrepreneurship, give it the attention. Which one is speaking to more impact for you, and which one are you giving more time to? That's how to do it. Okay, Mohammed said dissect the essays for us a little bit. Okay, let me see. All right, Moses, I think I just answered you. So for the essays, right, I don't have those questions extracted, but I would simply just give you a rule of thumb. There's one of those questions that asks you to talk about what's your accomplishments in the last 2 years and how that feeds into the future. Now, a question is there asking you to talk about what you do. This is an opportunity. This is not where you talk about the fact that my name is Shedrack, I'm from Benue State, I'm the first son of my father. No, that's not the question. My name is Shedrack, or my name is Dr. Shedrack. I'm a veterinary doctor by profession and the founder of Vet Connect. I'm addressing the challenge of access to animal care, where I leverage my platform to connect veterinary doctors to pet owners and livestock farmers. Currently, I'm able to provide access to 1 million farmers. Hypothetical, right? I'm just giving you context. In the next 2 years, I hope to. So you must come from the past to the present and then to the future. And always close those responses with a call to action. Participating in the Mandela Washington Fellowship would give me an opportunity to. So just look at the entire approach. The question is clear, and that's why when you have done so much, sometimes it can even be confusing. Which one should I even talk about? But the whole idea is to make you talk about what is most impactful. So pick what carries more impact, talk about it, and then feed it to how the Mandela Washington Fellowship would help you solve or address that, take you to the next level. There's also a question on your work in your community and how you support it. This is where you now get to share at every question that you're asked. Always seize the opportunity to talk about the impact you've made and how participating in the fellowship would add to your bottom line. Very important. Don't answer any question without doing that. They are going to ask you a question on, Mandela is a big deal about the fellowship. They are going to ask you questions about Mandela. These are the things the man stood for. I remember one of my questions, I was asked about resolution of conflict. So this is an opportunity for you to think back in your experiences. Was there a time where you helped solve a problem? How did you go about it? And what was the outcome? So there's this thing called STAR approach. The situation, the task, the action you took, and the result that came out of it. This is always a rule of thumb that you should use. So, but like I said, if you're on the group, as you respond to your essay questions, I would be able to also help with that. And again, check my channel after now. There's a question that I even gave more insight on how to answer your essay questions. I think it's an 8-minute video. You can watch that too and get more context. Let me see. Okay, so it seems to me I don't have any other questions to answer. Please, 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 before you hang up, do well to hit the subscribe button. Also share this video on your timeline so that others will be able to watch too. It can be very exhausting when you have said all of these things only to go back to the group and realize that they're actually the same questions you answered here. So, okay, there's another one, Rabiu Adamu. Okay, thank you, Doc. Nice presentation. My name is Dr. Rabiu. Okay, did the Mandela notify each applicant on whether he's a yes? You will be notified. So if you're selected, you'll be notified. If you're not selected, you'll be notified. So yes, you will be. All right. Yes, I wish you all the best too, Muhammad. I wish everyone who has joined this call all the best in their applications. But let me tell you this. I've already emphasized the fact that it's a very competitive process. Whether or not you're selected is not an indictment on your capacity. I want you to make peace with that. Because imagine almost 60,000 people are applying for something and only 700 are selected. You can look at the odds. It doesn't mean that any other person that was not selected is not doing amazing work. It's just what it is. So that is why for now, give your best shot, keep an open mind. There are several other opportunities around, but for this one, the focus is on the Mandela Washington Fellowship. So give it your best so that you're going to be able to come through successfully. Okay. Are there specific number of applicants selected in each country? No. I won't be able to give a very straight answer to that. I'll just talk about Nigeria. I think Nigeria has always selected in the range of 50s. Where 57 people selected. Nigeria usually has the largest number, and it makes sense because of our population. So that's it. So we were about 10,000 plus applications, and 57 were selected. So when you look at it, you see how competitive that can be. So, but give it your best, and let's hope for the best. So please hit the subscribe button, share the video, and let's get more persons. And if you want more questions, go on the channel. I have uploaded 6 videos already, and that should be able to help you prepare. More videos will come as we make progress through this whole application. So thank you so much, everyone who was able to make time. At this point, I'm going to bring this broadcast to an end. Thank you, and I wish you all the best with your application. Have a good one, and over.